During the pandemic, many companies had to have layoffs, setbacks, and cancel plans that they made. But I think Disney, beyond any other corporation, has canceled huge plans, huge projects that they had either ongoing, anticipated, or had coming, particularly for the Walt Disney World area and for Central Florida. So today we're going to get into the canceled development plans of Disney, particularly in Central Florida, particularly in Disney World, and really get into what this spells for the Walt Disney World Corporation and what this sets as a precedent for the parks going into the future. As always, I am Andrew Esquire. This is the Legal Mindset. We teach you to be your own judge, and I am a Florida attorney specializing in special districts in Florida. That's what I did for the longest time and dealt with large commercial developers and theme parks in Central Florida, so very familiar with commercial development and theme park development and what we can actually understand and expect looking at what they've canceled and also why they've canceled and resorted certain different projects. This is a little bit different than normal, but understand that most people, when they think of the law, they think of the courtroom. But frankly, most lawyers never see the inside of the courtroom. In fact, many more legal deals and terms are actually dealt with in the boardroom and on the drafting table than in the courtroom. In fact, most deals that actually make money aren't handled or settled in the courtroom. They're settled outside of court. They're dealt with in another frame. And one of these things is looking at and planning all of these different large projects. Now, certainly you've heard about one of the most major projects that was canceled by Disney, and that is the Galactic Star Cruiser. Of course, the Galactic Star Cruiser was based on the new adventures, right, of Rey, the Best as Evar. And of course, we've talked about how that was canceled. Now, they're trying to sell that as not enough booking and the economics, whatever else. But frankly, the bottom line is they planned for this new super woke universe, and frankly, no one cared about it. And the fans that might even have the money, which were very few to start with, were not willing to pay for it for a kind of half-assed adventure. You're really not getting $6,000 worth when you could hop on a plane and go to, Disney World in Tokyo for that price and have a much better experience if you really were trying to get something that was different, that was sort of out of this world. You weren't finding it on the Galactic Star Cruiser, particularly when the only character that was a legacy character is the character you see here, Chewie. Really the only legacy character in the Galactic Star Cruiser. So that being said, and because they couldn't get original fans on, obviously that was canceled. We've also talked on this channel about the cancellation of the Lake Nona project. Now, this is one that I want to reinforce because a lot of Disney blogs have gone out there and, the pixie dusters, as we call them, have gone out and they've continued to say this is because of Florida's business climate, this is something about the legal battle, this is something about DeSantis. No, 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 no. This is about money. Now, Disney has to save millions of dollars, actually billions, to purchase Hulu, right? They've got to come out here and they've got to make this giant purchase of Hulu from Comcast. And because of that, because they've got to make this giant purchase of Hulu, they've tried to pinch pennies. They're looking to save $5.5 billion across the company. And one of the ways they were going to do that was to cancel the Lake Nona complex. Now, to be very clear, Lake Nona and the Lake Nona campus was always a project of Bob Chapek. That's one of the things that Bob Chapek wanted. So in a way, this snubbing of the Lake Nona campus is more of Bob Iger, pissing on the legacy of Chapek rather than DeSantis. This is really pushback against Chapek, and that's what we really should look at it as. Not so much as a DeSantis thing, but really a Chapek thing, and saying this is something that Chapek wanted. Iger wanted the campus in California. He's a California guy. He's BFFs with Gavin Newsom. He likes their woke politics. He prefers California, so he wants them to stay out in California. He's not trying to actually save money or be more effective or efficient. No. He wants to keep that in the center of the crazy there in Southern California. So that obviously was a plan that was canceled. But moving on, there were other plans that were canceled outside these two things, which we've covered on this channel. We also had a massive DVC expansion of Reflections at Lakeside Lodge that was supposed to be built out. Now, to be very clear, and I've done videos on DVC, and I've also made it clear that I've worked in the timeshare industry as well as in-house counsel for a company, and I'm very aware of the profitability, the extreme profitability of timeshares. Extremely profitable, extremely high margin, extremely good market to get into for a corporation that's looking to make money. So clearly they wanted to make as many timeshare units as possible, and this is kind of part of this project. However, this was too ambitious for them to build out. It was much easier for them to turn a quick profit by simply converting units and building on Polynesian and expanding the Polynesian a bit, rather than going and doing a full out project Reflections at Lakeside Lodge. And because of that, this plan was absolutely scrapped. It was canceled. Now, they may come back and have some sort of variant in the future, but for now, they simply do not have the funding to proceed with this. Therefore, this has fallen by the wayside and is absolutely gone for now. So going on from that, we have Epcot. Now, of course, we can thank the Venetians for this one. So there was going to be many, many, many updates at Epcot. And of course, Epcot is not the experimental prototype community of tomorrow that was promised by Disney, this actual city that was supposed to be built and was the reason for the Reedy Creek Improvement District. No. We're talking about the giant golf ball. And now, look, I liked Spaceship Earth. I thought it was a fun little ride to go on when I was there, or I had too many beers in the World Showcase back in the day when I actually was going to Disney when I was living in Orlando. It was always fun to kind of chill out and ride the World Showcase, but it was a little tired. It's looking a little old, so they were going to revamp it. They were going to make it look new, look more stylish, bring it kind of up to date. Sorely needed for something that looks like it's out of the 70s, frankly, in terms of technology and animatronics. However, this has been canceled. This has been put off. There's no date when this will happen. Clearly, it would need a refreshing at some point, but frankly, that may not happen for 5 years, 10 years, who knows? So that one has been scrapped as well. Now, Epcot at large just has other major improvements. Now, some changes at Epcot, they are actually making and improving. They're adding a certain amount of green space and a certain amount of other things. But in terms of the concepts, like for example, the Let's Play area, the Let's Play concept, this is not planning out. The experiences that they planned are not panning out as they initially pitched. They initially pitched this grandiose makeover, and that's not what we're having here. In fact, you've seen all the models and all the kind of experiential overlays. They were planning for these grand festival pavilions, for redos of all of the lands, right? So, France, obviously, they did get the Ratatouille ride. That is a thing, right? They got the creperie, that's fine. But all of the lands were planned to be kind of revamped, remodeled, made modern. Epcot, for the longest time, was pretty much Walcott. It was giant walls everywhere blocking out all of the future innovations areas. And for a while, those were planned to come down, and they were planning to expand and build on in a really grandiose way. But much of that has been cut down upon. So just to go into some of the details, for example, the Festival Plaza. The Festival Plaza initially was planned to look something like this. This is the original concept art. Now look, this is very grandiose. This is very extra. This is very over the top. But frankly, this is a cool concept photo. It would have looked great, right? It would have been kind of a new centerpiece to Epcot. That has been scaled back. So the original artwork, you can kind of see that there, but what we have now and what they're going is they're canceling this major kind of festival center, and they're scrapping it for a rinky-dink kind of one level single story hall called the Communicore Hall and the Communicore Plaza. So it's got the branding on it and all that good stuff. Just some sort of small rinky-dink building that takes the place of this grand centerpiece. So Epcot not really getting the facelift, kind of just getting the emergency surgery, if you will. There are also big changes that were supposed to come to the lands. For example, China was supposed to get a Wondrous China update, was supposed to get a major update to the China Pavilion. That's not happening. Perhaps their overlords, perhaps President Xi, did not send them enough good boy dollars after Mulan failed. Who knows about that? Maybe, they suddenly had some labor shortages with the building crew there. But that is something that is not happening as well. So that's one cutback as well. And then, of course, Mary Poppins. They were supposed to have a Mary Poppins Center at Epcot. That's something that was going to come along the way. And look, I loved Mary Poppins as a kid. That was kind of a cool thing, to watch as a kid. Still remember Spoonful of Sugar. But that's canceled, that's gone. And what does this mean? When we zoom out, when we look at all these cancellations, all these things that were supposed to happen, but frankly did not happen, what can we kind of take away from this? Well, what we can take away from this is that Disney does not have the funds, the capability, the capacity, or the belief that people will be driven to Disney World in the future, that more people are going to come to Disney World in the future for their parks, for their attractions. They are doing the bare minimum to keep things going, to finish the projects that they started, and they're pushing through. They use COVID, like many companies, as an excuse. Oh, it's COVID, it's the COVID lockdowns, it's the COVID shutdowns. Of course, Disney World, Central Florida, was not shut down for long. In fact, the theme parks were opened very quickly under Governor Ron DeSantis. However, they've forgotten that in their legal battle and in their struggle to push woke politics, to push a very radical leftist agenda. They've lost that. They've lost sight of that. And clearly they're neglecting their business elements, particularly the parks, which have always been a breadwinner for them. They've been the jewel stone, the crown jewel of Disney. And when you see them neglecting the very crown jewel of what they are supposed to stand for and what's profitable, frankly, this is bad news for Disney. They really needed the attendance to be up, people to be coming, to be excited, and you're not going to see that in Disney going into 2023 and pushing on into 2024. Let me know what you guys think. Are you going to check out Disney in 2023 or 2024? What do you think about the canceled plans? Is there anything you were excited for that you no longer see, or anything that you would love to see them do in the future, or perhaps some larger changes you would be interested in hearing about? Like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Thank you so much for getting me to 100K, and I will catch you all later. Peace.